for me, it's there's two kinds of multi-club owners. The sustainable ones that everybody knows, the City Group and the Red Bull, the Qataris, that, well, that they do everything right. So they have a plan, they stick with it, they have time.
Hi, and welcome to The Conversation. I'm Elena Sacarneiro, and today we're speaking to Nuno Azevedo e Cardoso, who was president of the football club Vionense in Portugal.
Hi, Eleanor.
Nice to see you. So thanks for joining us. You were, as I mentioned, the president of a football club until very recently when you stepped down. Can you tell us, and you brought the football club from the 4th league to the 3rd league in a matter of months. Tell us the story.
Well, it's a wonderful story, but it's something that I always wanted to do, because it's like playing Football Manager in real life. It's beautiful. So I had my experiences in other sports and in other competitions and world events, and I always and I love football. So I had a dream of one day being president of one football team. And so when I left Sporting, I was deep into the football world, and so I gathered a team, I gathered an investor, I founded a team, a very good team, but it was in the lower leagues of Portugal, and I did it, and then we had success immediately. We had two teams, one of the under 19 team that we were promoted to the nationals, and the main team that we promoted to the 3rd league, and that's very good.
And that was in 11 months, right?
I'm sorry?
And that was in 11 months.
Exactly. So we arrived in Viana do Castelo in June, and early June, less than 1 year, early June, we were playing for the championship. We lost the final. We lost just the last game. So we could have been champions. It was a hell of a ride.
Good for you. Speaking of, so obviously I think the world is now more familiar with these smaller clubs that have lost their mojo, so to speak, with Wrexham, the Welsh football club, with the two mega Hollywood stars injecting capital and showing up. So is that a similar story to the one that you've just lived through with Vienna?
Yes, a very similar story, but my investor wasn't a rock star or a Hollywood star. And that would be a key point to even greater results, because if you want to be well known like Wrexham is, if you have those kind of owners, you have the path to greatness, because they have everything. Everyone is very much looking for Wrexham news, because they know that they have all the attention in the world. We didn't, but we've made it, and we did very similar things we didn't copy anyone, but we did very, very good things with Vionense as well.
So I suppose that's the big question is, what is the key to success? Or is it finding the right club, or finding the right investors, finding the right players?
Well, having a plan, I believe that, and stick with it. I believe that's the main question, because you have to measure it, and you have to measure it against something. And so when you start something, you have to plan what's success, and we did, and we checked all the boxes. In the end, all the boxes were checked, and we didn't plan to be champions, but and we could have been champions. We didn't plan that. We planned to be promoted, and suddenly good things happen when you do it by when you have a plan and you stick with it and choose the right people and you have the right investors, and you do everything right, and you don't let anyone affect you and your mentality and your philosophy, you're in the right path. Probably you will succeed.
Speaking of right investors, There's a lot of talk lately about multi-club ownership, and a lot of the big clubs obviously being owned by different types of groups or countries, even in some cases, it seems. Can you tell us about that and the landscape at the moment, and what constitutes a good investor?
Well, yeah, that's the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, trend in football at the moment. So being for me, it's there's two kinds of multi-club owners. The sustainable ones that everybody knows, the City Group and the Red Bull, the Qataris, that, well, you know, that they do everything right. So they have a plan, they stick with it, they have time, they know how to when they lose, they know how to do what to do, and they have they do it in a way, in a sustainable way, in a long way. They have the long term.
They play the long game.
Exactly. So
Okay.
they don't have a immediate result, and they don't want to. They want to. They are here to stay. And the other ones that wants the fast track. There's no fast track in football, and so they come and they go, and probably when they go, it's worse than when they come. And so those smaller investors that sometimes smaller clubs accept without checking their background, zero due diligences, and so it's fresh money that comes and they accept it. And in the end of the day, they wish they didn't, because when they go, the club is worse than when they come.
That seems to be, would the Glazer family fit in that category? Because it seems to be, they're not very popular at Manchester.
Well, one thing is to be popular. I don't believe so. That the Glazer family is in Manchester United for decades now, and they did everything right. So they when they are on the good side of the story. Really? Because well, sometimes they lose, and they lose for a couple of or more years in a row, and nothing happens. So they are continuing looking for the best coach and the best players, and grooming their academy and these facilities. That's the way to do it. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the lower leagues, the lower MCOs are not so keen to wait, and so that's why they lose.
Okay, thank you. So what would be for you the ideal, because I know that your heart's in it as well, and we'll talk about our club that we have in common afterwards, but what would be for you the future of football? Where does it lie?
Well, in the youngsters. I believe that that's my heart speaking. I believe that the talent is everywhere, but there's a lot of talent in Africa. So with if we have the right way to pick some talent in Africa, I believe that's where the most talent lies.
Thank you.
But also the clubs have to realize that they are working with people, with small people, that they are grooming into men's. So that's when you concentrate on the player, and all around the player, the school, the family, the where they live, the financials of when they get rich, if they get rich, and sometimes they don't get rich. So all these subjects are very important to a great football player. So the biggest clubs and the biggest academies, like our club, you know, they worry about these things. These are not little things.
So let's talk about Sporting Lisbon, because obviously our club, they have one of the best academies in the world, as far as I can understand, with having groomed or trained the great Portuguese players, Ronaldo being the obvious one, but also Dani, who then, for disciplinary reasons, I think we ended up
Figo.
with, and Figo,
and Nani and Quaresma. There's so many. There's so many.
So is it their holistic approach to the talent that makes the difference? What would you say is the key to their training system?
Well, exactly what I said before. They worried, and they are concerned of all aspects of those young kids. All they escort them through life, and so everything is important, and the nutrition, school, sleep, everything, and this is a very important. But also they have like a footprint of the sporting footprint is that they have a philosophy, and they have a match philosophy. They know what's their goals, what we want to accomplish, and that's that club is, you know, that I love that club, as everything on their favor, because they know what to. They have the facilities, they have the coaches, they have the story, they have the fans, they have everything, and they know what to do. That's one for me, the key subject. They know what to do.
Interesting. Now, you've also worked on major sporting events, as you mentioned earlier. Can you give us a rundown of the ones that you've worked on and the importance, much like in your experience, no doubt, with the being president of Vienense Football Club in the north of Portugal? Can you tell us how important these events are? Not only the success or the renewed confidence in a team, but a huge sporting event. How important is that for the revival of the community, really?
Yeah, well, it makes all the difference, because you know that being a president of a smaller club anywhere in the world, you have to be multidisciplined. So you have to know what to do in operations, licensing, merchandising, commercial, the sporting side. That's very important, and have the right connections. So you are busy with all the subjects. All subjects matter, and the big events that I've worked in, for instance, the Euro 2004, and not only in sports. My first event was the Expo 98 back in the 20th century. So all of these experiences, and F1, I was sponsorship manager for an Angolan company well, back in the day, in 2010, I believe. And so all of these approaches and strategies, I took them with me to my newest experience. So it was wonderful to see that small changes can affect a city. And so when we arrived, I give you an example. When we arrived, we needed fans. So we had like 100 people in the stands. When I left, it was 2,500. We took like 5,000 people from Vienna to the final match in Lisbon. It was amazing. We built a cheering squad, and so these things happening organically. We don't ask it. We just throw the seeds, and it grows, because if this is the company that is a different company. It's not a regular company, because it's alive. You don't see people cheering for a bank or a security something. You have people at your door every day, and it's a company. It's a private company. But you have people cheering for you, and they want to know if you have a new player or a new coach or a new physician. Everything matters. It's alive. It's wonderful. It's one hell of experience, Eleanor.
And the big sporting event, so the Euro Cup,
2004, yeah, in Portugal.
2004. How big was that for Lisbon to be on the map?
Well, more than well, for us, it all began in '98, because we the Portuguese, we were a bit curious about, and we were self-centered, and with the Expo 98, we opened to the world. So we presented one of the best expositions to the world, the first biggest event for 100 years. And then 6 years later, we organized the Euro Cup in '04, and we had the most. I believe that was the best Euro ever, because you had the entire country around the team. We succeed until the final, as you know, and that's very helpful for the competition. But nonetheless, we had the whole country behind you, so you can. Yeah, and it was a milestone for Lisbon and for Portugal, not for Lisbon, for Portugal, because from then on, we knew that we can organize very good world events like any other country. So it was a game changer.
And what do you say of this controversy of the World Cup, for example, moving further and further east? What I experienced certainly in November was that by changing its location, you had fans from a lot of Indians wearing the Ronaldo shirt. It was extraordinary. And then you realized how few Portuguese there actually were in the crowd, because the national anthem came on and nobody could sing it, but they were all there to support Ronaldo. So it was quite interesting to see the fan base switch as well. Where do you lie in that controversy?
Well, it's something you can't stop. You know that 90% of the Madrid fans, Real Madrid fans, are not even in Spain. So that's the thing. Everybody loves Madrid, and everybody loves football, loves Madrid, and so it's something you can't control. I believe that. Well, I worked in sporting on an international level, and I took sporting for the five corners of the earth. Australia, opening academies in Egypt, Australia. I was with sporting in South America, North America, all over Europe, and with a Portuguese club, not one of the big five clubs in the world. And it's wonderful to see that everybody recognizes the brand, loves the brand. So it's something very easy to export. The thing is that there's two, and when I was at Sporting, I had this philosophy that one thing to internationalize, one thing is to expand, and the other thing is to internationalize. If you want to expand, is easy. That's what everybody does. But if you want to internationalize, you have to play there. It's not only to sell. If you sell something there, you expand. If you play there, you internationalize. That's more or less what happens now with the MCOs, because they want to see it, they want to touch it, they want to see your brand every day. So I support the internationalization a lot. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you very much. Last but not least, very important question: Messi or Ronaldo?
Of course, Ronaldo. Of course, Ronaldo. Of course.
Thanks very much, Nuno.
You're welcome. Anytime. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.